Why did I put my finger inside a Space Echo?
Hi, I'm Heinbach and it's good to have you back. In this video I'm going to show you a tape technique that is so fun and so obvious that everybody should be using it, yet I don't see anyone doing it. It turns any reel-to-reel or tape echo, even the venerable Roland Space Echo, into a looper. Albeit an imperfect one, but the imperfections are wonderful. The technique is a variation on something that I showed in a video that has become somewhat often evergreen. In that video I use aluminum foil to cover the erase head. This prevents the tape machine from erasing what was previously recorded. But there's a more playful and literally hands-on way to go about this. First thing you need to do when you want to try out this technique is identify the erase head. On this H&H Electronics Echo unit it sits right here. And then you use your finger to move the tape away from it. And that is all. Now play with the tape, punching in silences by letting the tape touch the erase head again, for example. This results in rather inspiring rhythms. You can then fill the gaps again by playing into them. On my Patreon you'll find this track, along with the sample pack from this video. Your support there keeps this channel going, thank you very much. This is really simple, though there are some things you should be mindful of when you want to attempt this technique, and I'll go into these at the end of the video. But this should work on any machine that allows you access to the heads. On most Nagras this is really simple, as you can route the tape over this part in front. It will now record and record and record, and you press the tape to delete. On the Roland RE201 Space Echo, you first need to lift the tape out of its normal path. The Sony TC377, one of my favorite consumer tape machines, it is a little more finicky, as this one does not really like loose tape loops.
Heute ist ein schöner Tag.
You have to find a balance between moving the tape from the erase head and leaving enough tension for the record head to work.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1,
Unterbreche.
This manual tape technique has its advantages and disadvantages. The first advantage is anyone can do it. There is no technical barrier. You don't need to solder anything, and you can literally play the tape itself and get a feel for it as an instrument. Downside is, with many machines like the Space Echo, you will need one hand on the tape. Unless you're handy with a 3D printer or any other sort of DIY. Because then you could just whip up a cover, something to create distance from the tape head and that slots over the head or nearby it. Just be careful about two things. Don't scratch the head, so don't make anything that touches the head physically, and also make it really smooth, the cover where the tape is supposed to run over, to not unduly stress the tape. It will make your loops last longer. Also, if the motor of your tape machine is getting weak and you can feel it struggle when you touch the tape, or there are other mechanical noises and issues, it might not be a good idea. Maybe your tape machine needs some service first before you can attempt to add additional drag onto the motor and the mechanical parts. And one thing that is very unlikely with most slightly more modern machines, but I don't know what 1950s tape DIY monster your grandfather whipped up in his shed back in the day and you're now trying to get to life again. Don't touch any wires or parts carrying mains voltage. Usually those parts are all hidden right inside the machine. There's nothing here that could hurt you because this is a serviceable area. You're supposed to put loops in here. Nothing can really happen. But I don't want to hear about anyone being electrocuted while trying to make experimental noise. Now, this process is anything but perfect, as I mentioned at the very beginning. The erase head is actually needed to bias the tape properly, so it can record and record and record. So your first pass is going to be properly biased, and that's going to sound the best. But if you level it right, it might also be the part that fades the last. But any other pass that comes over it is gonna struggle to be recorded, and you have to really watch your levels, up them up, if you really want to have the sound come through. It's a lot of experimentation. It depends on your machine and the state of its cleanliness. So if your heads get dirty, the process is gonna struggle, so you need to clean those regularly, especially with these loops that are gonna cause more friction on everything than a regular reel-to-reel that runs as it was supposed to with the machine. But I see this as a positive. The gradual fading is wonderful, and it allows you to use the machine as an EQ, because the first thing that goes are the highs and the lows, and the mids are the thing that remains. So the tape machine is a filter. And then if you're playing a track, you could record something really hot like a rhythm, or you could cut up a rhythm, and that's gonna stay much longer than anything else you add, especially if you don't record over it too hot. There are technical solutions to sound on sound, for example, modding the eraser with a pod. There are numerous guides how to do that to certain machines, and you can find some on my subreddit. I've had this mod installed on my Echo Fix from the factory. Of course, you also make different rhythms when you play a knob than when you play a tape running over an eraser. It's a different motion with more travel, and it's not as immediate as having tape run over your fingers.
If this technique and everything that I've shown in this video is old news to you, you are a proper worn tape head, and I applaud you. I just want to show people who are not that experienced with tape as a material, as a recording medium, and as a creative instrument, how to use it in ways they might not have imagined. I myself come from cassette. The only time I had to touch the tape was when it broke. For the longest time I thought tape is rather fragile and touching it is only necessary when it's broken. And that's absolutely not true. If you have any questions or tips, put them in the comments below or come to the Heinbach subreddit. It's a lovely place, and tape and test equipment is something that is talked there a lot. Also, check out my monthly newsletter, News from the Niche, where I cover everything that is going to happen, has happened, and also give book tips. Thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.